Sorry about that. It was so loud.
So we did a fairly simple analysis of the job numbers where we just compare what the expectation is in terms of the retained and created jobs compared to what they report in any particular year. So we did that for 24, 23, and then compared the two. Sort of big picture, for 2024, all 36 of the recipients that were required to submit a report did so. They reported 1,391 jobs, and that represented 83% of the 1,683 jobs that were expected for 2024. So overall, everyone's at least complying with the reporting requirement. And overall, the job numbers are looking pretty solid. If you look at the more detailed chart, you can look and see each recipient, and you'll see that there's some that are way above their job target and some that are way below their job targets. But overall, pretty good. Similarly, with 2023, all 34 of the recipients submitted their reports. In the 2023 reports, 1,511 jobs were reported, and that represented 91% of the 1,670 jobs target for those 34 companies. So a little bit of a slip from past year, the previous year. And then when you compare, I just took the 33 recipients that were required to submit reports in both years. And in that case, those 33 recipients reported 1,378 jobs compared to 1,478 jobs in 2023. So those 33 companies that had to report in both years reported a loss of 100 jobs. And the chart that I sent around, you can look at which ones were lost jobs and which ones gained jobs. It's really, it's nothing more sophisticated than that. This is just looking at the numbers. There's an expectation that companies meet their job goals, but there's always economic circumstances that are beyond the control of recipients, and it's ultimately a decision of the board what, if anything, we do with these, but at the very least, we're complying with what's expected of us in terms of getting the reports in and doing some kind of analysis on them.
Do you send them a questionnaire, the developers?
A report goes out that they have to complete every year.
It's like, did it ask why they didn't meet the job goal?
Danae, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, you.
If it comes back and it's off a lot from what they said on their application or from the previous year, then I ask them to provide an explanation. If they have that on hand in case we get audited by the ABO, we have in the past, and they want us to ask them why.
Did you get the responses, or?
Yeah.
What's most of them saying about the responses of not meeting the job quota?
I mean, the one that we had the biggest problem with, so they couldn't get a hold of their tenants, their commercial tenants, to get the job numbers from them. They wouldn't share it. That was really, there weren't many that were, was there any that stood out to you that were really low? From what they,
Yeah, I mean, looking at the chart, there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
There was some on
7 that are pretty low. You know, City Station East was only at 11%. Dowshy River Triangle, the Dowshy Building is 6%. Hendrick Hudson, 3%. Martin Luther King, 31%. R&M Holdings, 16%.
yeah, he just opened at the end, well, he opened at the beginning of this year, but he had people hired at the end of last year. That's the positive for him.
Oh, yeah, that place is busy, yeah.
Yeah, I don't, City Station, I'm gonna have to go back and check why, because they did fill up those, their spaces on the bottom. I'm not sure why they were that one.
I know Cookie Factory went out of, well, they didn't go out of business, but they shut down that bakery on Front Street. Right? I know that's probably had an impact.
Well, actually, they didn't really, we had them for the 23 report, and they were reporting, you know, more jobs than had been expected. And then the 24 report, the project closed out, so they're not really even factored into these numbers. So when, you know, again, when I say there was 100 job loss, it's
So they weren't
only that set of companies that had to report in both years.
okay.
And when you add it all up for both that set of companies, there was a loss of 100 jobs.
And this building was one of the ones that reported a lot less, but, they were within, we gave them like a, we within 30, in order to not be, they, like out of compliance, so they did have a loss of jobs in this building, but they are still within that range where we're not gonna.
Was the Hendrick Hudson included in that?
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're,
All four of those are.
the Hendrick Hudson, yeah, I mean, they're only at 3% of their, they had 80 jobs, that's sort of the target. They're only reporting 2 jobs.
But being the change that they're making in the tenant base, is that included?
I think that's a reflection, these numbers are a reflection of that.
Okay.
But they should be having their retail employees downstairs.
They should be.
So, like, when I saw that number, I thought somebody just put the wrong numbers in.
That's what I was talking about, where we had several conversations about going to those places and asking them how many employees they have, and I was not able to get them to do that, and I refused to do it myself, because that's not I'm not the one reporting, they are. So I told them that's how it was gonna stand on the report, and then we'd have to have an explanation to put in the file as to why the number was so low.
Okay.
But that was one of them. And, Dodgy and River Triangle.
Same.
So that, there might actually be more jobs there, but this is what they report. Well,
So what are, I understand we're not like an enforcement or accountability arm for these agreements, but what are the opportunities to make them a little more accountable for what they're reporting?
well, you are, actually, my understanding is you are the accountability,
Okay.
the board is.
So this is like not complaining or indicting. Getting up to speed, me being, the newest member, right? And learning more about the interactions of what this board does with the community and that kind of stuff. Stephanie probably is more familiar with the cadence that we do on school boards. Like, we have frequent workshops before we have a meeting where there's opportunities to educate, learn, that kind of stuff. I fundamentally, when I hear that number, and I'm familiar with the building, they report 2 jobs, that's a problem, because they have 4 separate businesses in that building on the ground floor. I understand they're in flux because they lost that state tenant. But they also had another issue that happened that we're aware of. It doesn't sound like that particular building is, for lack of better terminology, playing by the rules. So I'm just kind of curious, at what point is there an accountability tool that comes into play to say, listen, here's the issues that you have. What's your action plan to get within compliance of your original agreement with this board?
I believe you have that authority to.
You can withdraw their pilot?
That's sort of the nuclear option, but, my experience in doing this at the state level has always been, you
Negotiate?
businesses get the incentives based upon the commitments they make. You monitor those commitments from year to year. If you see that there's an issue with a company not fulfilling their commitments, there's usually a process for addressing that. And it could start out with a simple letter.
Just putting them on notice.
It's just like, put them on notice. It's like, hey, saw your report, it doesn't look good, give us an explanation. We can accept it or not accept it, and then decide whether or not we want to take further action.
We really do, because it makes us look bad,
No, if we-
that we're
Yeah.
reporting numbers
Yeah,
knowing that they're inaccurate.
yeah.
So can we, well, Jeff's not here, but get the contact from you and send a letter from the,
I think Justin Minty, we can bring it up with him.
Yes, I work with
you're
Justin
the-
Miller,
that's
so.
who you are.
Yeah, I'm here to speak, I'm the lawyer in the room. So we can certainly put together a request for information, right? We could phrase it that way. I mean, the next step would be calling it a notice of violation or breach of some sort. But to get, for the record, additional clarification for this number, and then decide whether or not, even in our reporting, we want to include a footnote to that effect, so that it doesn't look like if we have reason to believe the number that's been reported is not accurate, we should identify the fact that we know that to be the case. And if an awardee continues to fail to comply with its commitments, then it is the job of this board to take appropriate action to enforce those requirements.
Okay. So what do we have to do to get that done?
We have to probably make a motion to amend the Paris report now, right? To put the footnote in?
Well, yeah, so what is the timing of the Paris reporting? How soon would that happen without further
Yeah, you
update?
can't add a footnote.
Yeah.
It's just like a number field, but I do have a record of emails that I sent to them
Okay.
asking for additional information, but if we get a letter from the attorney, that'll also go in the file. But I don't think there's much we can do with the report as of right now, because they had an extra month to get.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're accepting this report, but we're not necessarily endorsing the results of the people that are in the reports. I think that's probably just information for next meeting, or discussion, maybe an agenda item for a future meeting, to kind of put some heat.
It sounds like we want to do some kind of outreach to those, some subset of these recipients, to question why are they job goals lower than expected.
Theirs are so far off the mark. And we know the buildings, and we know the retail, so we know that they're just not reporting and putting the effort in. Some of them, I'm going to suggest, maybe they don't know how to properly report the number, like, are they full-time equivalents? I don't know what the form looks like at that level.
It has an explanation at the top, saying what full-time equivalent is 35 hours, so it could be 2 part-time people, or 1 FTE.
Are you dealing with property managers or actual owners?
Both. I
Both,
mean, some
yeah.
of them have property managers, and some of them it's still the project owners, but, for the ones that were low, I did reach out to the applicants, the
Right.
who might not be
Members
as
of it,
involved
yeah.
as they were at some point. But a lot of times it's the property managers, because they're usually on site and can go to the tenants and be like, hey. Yeah, maybe some of them just need to be re-educated on the importance of
Yeah, I
the
think we need to
report
follow up on
and
that.
that you can be in default. When I tell them, I show them how much savings you're getting.
Yeah, I mean,
I've heard a lot of tactics, I'll just say that.
I know, I'm sure you have.
I don't
I
think
was
it's a
just like,
reflection on
whatever.
you at all.
It's your loss.
my experience is that if you show them that you're paying attention, they're gonna pay closer attention. If we just sort of do this as a perfunctory task, then that's how it's gonna get treated.
So, what do we need to do? To put somebody developers on notice.
I think a letter.
Requesting information.
Yeah,
Okay.
letter would,
Even though we know we can guess, like even city stations, we saw all that retail kind of go away, so it's pretty evident why their numbers went down on some of the spots. But they still had a commitment to a certain amount of employees, but if, at least for our knowledge, then to know,
well,
for them to say
it
that
would be
that's
an
the worst.
important first step before
Yeah.
you took the next step,
Yeah.
let's put it that way.
Yeah,
All right.
And it's a tricky thing with the job numbers, because they, they apply, some of these are from 2012. The
Yeah.
number from their application, what they thought they might have for a job number is not how it works out, but it's not something that we can go in and, it's not a field we can amend on the report, and unless their pilot changes drastically, like Hendrick Hudson, where they downsized all their office space, then we can go in and update their information.
mhm,
But it takes like something big to go in and change that original.
But to me, that's just like changing the goalpost.
yeah,
You know, and again, I'm not sure with these IDAs how relevant those jobs numbers are at the point at which this board agrees to provide the pilot agreement. I mean, I'm presuming that it has some influence over a decision to say yes or no, and to say yes, but only this much. You know, at the state level, in many of the programs that I worked on, we went through a learning process over my career where it got to the point where we had to get the law changed, and accountability was built into the process much more rigorously,
mhm,
so that what you say matters. So if you come in for state assistance based upon a job or investment number, that becomes an important factor in you being able to keep the benefits that were based upon those job and investment numbers. And, you know, it got to the point, like, for some programs, it would be like, you know, we recognize that the world changes and jobs fluctuate, and so it would be like if somebody got to 75% of the mark, we'd pretty much leave them alone. If it was less than that, we might prorate the tax credit amount that they were going to get.
mhm.
So, I mean, there are different mechanisms depending upon different types of programs, but I think the overriding message is, at the very least, we as a board are held responsible by the authority's budget office to monitor this. And then it's up to us what we want to do with that. We have the authority within the pilot agreements to take action.
So we'll start with,
Letter, and
But we have to report what has been reported to us.
Yes.
So we don't know what change to make to those numbers.
Right.
So this is the best available information that we currently have.
at least we're doing something
Right.
to try and understand for the future.
So will this take place before the next meeting?
Probably.
Yeah.
Or? Alright,
They can work with Tony, Justin. A letter coming from a lawyer is always, tends to wake people up.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anything else?
That's it for that.
So that was the executive director's report. Are there any other questions for him?
I mean, I could do the job analysis, and then you can just finish up with the financial. I mean, the cash flow analysis.
Do that?
Okay, so we have, in my time here, we've had this question raised a number of times that we've got seemingly a big amount of cash sitting in our account. And we've been asked, can't we invest that money and get higher yield on it? So working with Matt, we looked at some data on our cash balances in this account over the past 39 months. Analyzed that data to try to determine kind of what capacity do we have to take a chunk of that money and put it into higher yield savings without putting us in harm's way in terms of running out of cash to pay our bills at any particular month. So we went through that process, and I wrote up a report. I don't really think we need to go through the details of the report. I might just make some highlights, but I want to hand them out, give you a chance to look at them, and, at a future meeting, if you, based on this data, you feel like, yeah, I think we could take, X amount and invest it in CDs, or we could do laddered CDs, and we'd get a better rate of return than we're getting now. So that was the objective of this. So I'll just hand that around, and then I'll just kind of basically tell you what's in there. So the cover memo is just kind of explaining what we did and some sort of some high-level results. I would, and then there's a chart page that just shows the account balances over that 39-month period. I just wanted to show something visually that gives you an idea of, how much volatility there is in the account. And then kind of what's the, what was kind of the lowest point that it ever reached. So that was one chart. Another chart just shows you revenues and expenses over that time period. And then all the raw data that was the basis of the analysis is on the third page of this report. If you go to the third page and look up in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that the average balance in the account was $741,000 in 2022. That had grown to an average of $914,000 in 2024, and is projected to drop to an average of $761,000 for the remainder of this year. To try to do this analysis, that it's important. Again, what's kind of like the volatility? What's kind of like the point at which we never go below? And then what is our, do we have months where we have a big, seemingly have a big expense so we have to always make sure we have at least that much in the account. And, so we calculated the averages and, The average over the 39 months was over 825,000. The most, we only had 1 month, January 24, where we paid out 151,000, and only 2 other months in that 39-month period where we paid out over $100,000. So just based on that analysis, it suggests there's some opportunity there to say, hey, we can take a chunk of this money and better invest it, get a higher rate of return than we're getting now, and without putting us at any risk of from a cash flow perspective. So that was the purpose of this report. I think you should just look it over. If you have questions, think about it, and then, you know, maybe at the next meeting, we come to some conclusion as to, and decision point as to whether or not we want Matt basically investing the money for us.
Can you tell us what interest rates are looking like? Any idea?
Fees and stuff, I know we can probably get somewhere around, or not a little bit better than that. Our current bank account is already like 3.82% a year.
And that's like 60-day CDs or 90-day?
That information, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I figured, like Randy said, we probably ladder a good amount of it. Really, they expect to have it every year, it's just the management fee for the city.
Oh, so that's what okay.
Once we have that amount in the account at that time, fine. I don't foresee any big expenses. Any months we don't have a lot.
Yeah. And what's the primary source of revenue? Is it fees from these applications, or?
Oh, yeah, I even forgot to mention that. Matt filtered out the pilot payments, you know, because pilot payments just come in and go right back
Right,
out.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this analysis doesn't even count that. So it's really just, what is our revenue?
It's the admin fees, application fees, and monthly interest. The revenue numbers in there, I just kind of took our budget and divided the number by 12.
Okay.
Depending on if we bring in at projects.
When we do bring in projects and we close, we usually get a chunk of change.
Okay.
When we had the rep from Pioneer come, remember that?
Yeah, because at that point, we were getting like
Nothing.
0.5% or something. It was like something really ridiculous. And it was a pretty good sized balance too. And I think he changed it to whatever it's at right now, right? Yeah.
It made a difference.
Oh, yeah.
But
I
they're
see the
still-
interest rate numbers are way up.
Loading, well, for CDs, aren't they still around?
Yeah.
That's
I was
what-
just, you know, short-term CDs or something, you know, like $500,000, put like $500,000 in a CD or something. You still got 300,000, 200,000, whatever out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if you got anything coming in.
Did you speak to him at all?
Pioneer rep, I
Yeah.
don't.
Do you have any projects coming in, or do you expect to come in?
We're closing on a couple.
Oh, so that means revenue will be
That's
coming.
revenue's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
come in, yep.
Oh, okay.
But there's no new projects, or applications for new pilot agreements.
And usually when it closed, like, how much did they get?
1%.
Oh, really? Of the project? No. Oh, okay.
Project value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just thinking like $500,000, so just put half, yeah.
They'll be cutting it close, though.
Well, then you
If it's
still got,
short term, though.
well, right now, I looked at it this morning. What was it? Like,
As of March 31st, we have 951.
yeah, so you still got 400,000.
Can we, have David come back again and talk to us about what the options are?
Pioneer said they don't do CDs.
They don't, yeah. So we'd have to look at a commercial bank, like Bank of America or Key Bank or something,
Okay.
yeah.
That might have changed.
No, that that didn't
I
change.
don't think so. He
I
was pretty
think
adamant that they don't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they used to do it. When I was there, they used to do it. I mean, this new leadership team came in and they just cut it.
Because they did do, well, okay. Right,
What's it in now? It's, is it a money market? Oh, yeah, okay. Cause I saw last month was like $5,000 in interest. Yeah. Before we were getting like 1,200 or something, less than that, I think. Yeah.
so, to be continued, or,
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, it's, you could make a decision today or just to,
If you can get us like rates on, like local banks like KeyBank and
Yeah.
Bank of America, these commercial banks, see what, and, I don't think you wanna go out more than 6 months, right? On a CD?
I figure we might, it's probably like a 3-6, and if
Yeah.
we wanted to extend, like a little bit of cash into a longer term one,
Yeah.
we could look at that too, but.
So, yeah, get
I
like,
mean, if you can get a higher rate, you know,
mhm.
there's, again, this analysis shows that at least, because I did it for the LDC as well, we don't have as much wiggle room there. There's a little more wiggle room here to take a chunk of it, ladder it, and just get the best rates you can. And
Yeah.
then the laddering, as you know, always kind of keeps us at a point where if we needed to, you know, sort of cash it in
yeah.
immediately, we could do so.
I mean, it's making enough money to cover the accounting fees, you know, so, I mean, yeah, if you can just get a chart on, like, local banks, commercial banks, and 3, 6, 60, 90, and 6-month CD rates and see what they're, you know, what they're at.
So we can just report back on that for next month.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect. The only other thing I have to report is that, I'm leaving. I'm, retiring once again. Third time's the charm.
Wow. Just got you.
It's mostly for personal reasons. It is almost 100% personal reasons. My wife, for whatever reason, still haven't figured this out, but she likes to hang out with me.
It's not a bad thing.
What's the date?
May 9th.
Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So we're not gonna see you again.
Not in
This is your
this
last,
capacity.
this is your last, wow.
Yeah.
Still invite you to these meetings if you want.
They are public.
Well, good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck, Randy.
And it's been fun, so.
So was it a year, was it a year and a half or?
A little over a year.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate what you did,
Yeah.
putting things.
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy coming in.
Structured.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I think,
Exactly.
I mean, whoever comes in has their own way of doing things, but a little structure,
Executive report.
Today, got them down.
is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, you found that mistake, whatever the tech, yeah, that's big, yeah.
Yeah.
You need an impact.
We'll talk. All right, let's
New
go.
business.
Yes.
Annual meeting resolution, section 8, to review the Paris report. Is there a motion to accept it?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion on the Paris report? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. New business, old business? Nothing to report. Is anyone gonna add anything in there?
So do we have to report?
Yes. Then we're doing the financials.
Our first report is the statement of financial position. As of March 31st, we have total revenues of $1,201,428, with $951,264 of that in cash. We have total liabilities of $307,991, which left us with a fund balance of $893,436. There's no significant changes to the statement of financial position. And lastly, we have the statement of activity. For the month of March, we ran a deficit of $4,326. Our most significant source of revenue was our interest earnings, and our largest expenses within our professional services.
And the receivable that was out there is something we need to be concerned with?
No, those are all pilots. As of today, I believe there's only one outstanding. One of them was accidentally paid to the city and not us, so that will come up.
Oops, okay.
Oh, yeah, and they're gonna have the check, today.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other questions? All right, we've heard the report. Motion to accept, do that really, and, move to adjournment.
New business.
Oh,
Oh, no,
move.
you're
No,
the next one.
Oh, I thought you said motion to adjourn, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
we have,
we're going to
you're
the
on
CRC next.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
We're not gonna forget about you.
Motion to adjourn? Move,
Second.
seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Moving right into the CRC, it is 10:42 a.m. We're gonna open the CRC now. We're running into the same approval of minutes from February. I'm gonna say we probably still don't have that, someone new is here. But March, we do have a quorum. So is there a motion to accept the minutes from March? Motion,
I'll second.
seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Move to the executive director's report. Executive director's report.
I have nothing to report.
Nothing to report. All right. New business, Tech Valley Center of Gravity, sponsorship request.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, I'm the Valley Center of Gravity. Are you familiar with us?
Yes.
Have you been to our building? Well, if you ever want to tour, we would love to give you one. So, over the last couple of years, you guys have been providing us with financial assistance or funding as a general sponsor, just to really help with everything that we have going on. We're a makerspace, we are an incubator space, we have basically all the equipment you can think of probably in a 15,000 square foot space. And we're a nonprofit, so we rely on donations, sponsorships, and grants to run. So I'm here requesting that you guys to sponsor us or grant us $5,000 again this year, just to help us continue to be up and going. You can see for those of you who have the packet, the second page, just some benefits of helping and being a sponsor that you automatically get from the sponsorship. I don't know if you want me to go through those or not. Do you want me to mention any of them, or have you already seen them?
Yeah.
You're good? Okay. We started out in 2013 in a vacant spot in Troy, and then we received help from the community and the state, and were able to be in the building that we are in now. It was specifically update it for us. It's a in this building and back in this building. So I don't know if you have any questions about what we do, or, yeah, I mean, if you have questions for me, let me know. We have programming for children, programming for adults, a workshop, and
So is this just going into your general operating?
so it basically goes to fund everything, anywhere from programming, operating, it's.
So it's not targeting one particular project?
No, it's unrestricted funds to help where it is needed and when it is needed within the organization, which is what you've done for the last 2 years. The thing is, putting it toward a specific program
Yeah.
is that a lot of times grants out there, we can find grants to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't necessarily find the unrestricted funds that then help with where it's needed,
Yeah.
when it's needed, do you know what I mean?
Is, 'cause sometimes with grants, which is kind of how you're looking at this, is, you have to submit your financials. Is the Tech Valley Center very profitable every year?
Well, we're not, as a nonprofit, generally, you're not supposed to be profitable.
Well, you know,
Well,
We're-
that's not necessarily.
Okay, when I look at grad school, and I think things are changing, because I graduated in 2011 from Binghamton, but at grad school, it was always, the zero was what you were supposed to be at the end of every year for a
Mhm.
nonprofit.
That's what they teach you in college?
That's what they taught me in grad school.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh.
As a nonprofit.
If you're on the banking side, that would be like totally wrong.
Well, hold on. That doesn't mean that you can't have, funds that continue to bring in money every year. Like, as a nonprofit, right now, we would love to start building that nest egg, I guess you might want to call it.
Mhm.
But, we are not in the red, if that's what you're asking.
Yes, that is,
Yeah, we're not in a deficit.
okay.
Do you have outstanding debt, or
I mean, no. Like, you mean, like, are we looking to
Do you have, like, a
get
line
money
of-
to pay it off somewhere?
do you have a line of credit or anything like
We have a
that?
line of credit.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes. Yes, we do. I can give you our financials if you'd like to see them. It is, and I even have a copy of them here today.
Yeah, do you think it's online? I can bring them up.
Do you have
Line
the
up,
report from our last meeting by chance?
Not handy, I don't.
Okay. It probably would not be online right this second.
I
Is it-
am on the board
Oh.
over
Oh,
there,
you are?
so,
Oh.
yeah. I can say that what she said is accurate, that they don't have a overabundance of money, but they are in the positive, and there is a line of credit, and there's a old, maybe an SBL loan. But we just had a meeting as to like how to pay those things down and stay on track and stay in the red year over year, to make sure that everything keeps running as it is. But I don't have the financials, but they're in a good spot.
sorry, there was, you guys haven't,
There's not an overabundance, but they are,
Okay, that
there
makes
was
sense.
that, you guys haven't asked that in the past, I would have been happy to bring it had I known, I
Okay.
apologize about that.
Is there anybody else that does what you do in the Capital District, or?
Not really. So there's colleges that obviously do that, but then once you graduate, you can't go use it. And some of the colleges, and I think you maybe should do that, if you make something in that space, it's kind of also owned by the college.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
But no one is doing it like we're doing it.
okay.
And so, no, not,
there's people that are trying to replicate it, I think, in other areas.
yeah.
But there's something different about this one. I don't know if it's because of this one or the group of people they have there, but it's, pretty unique. And we had a lot of, people visiting from, like, really specialized fields, and they come there and they share their knowledge and information. Pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean,
The other ones haven't lasted this long either, so it's kind of like a hub. It really is a cog, like their logo. It's, pretty important in the whole region, really.
we have members from all walks of life, anywhere from somebody who's just coming in to make something and have fun, to we have someone who, is working in a prototyping center, and they're working on creating, like ceramic, almost like a brick, but in ceramics as a facade, and to be the first to market in the US to do that. So we've had, you know, all kinds of people come through to do different things. Let's see, and then I heard, Leadership Impact, this is Unchanged Innovations, started through us. If you look at the map, they make almost like a vegan leather. And they have really taken off. They're now in Westchester, but they started out of the building.
Oh, okay.
So maybe in the future, it would be good to know how many of these jobs, because everything we do is based on our mission statement is really about job creation.
I mean, I'm happy to give you any of that stuff, this has never been asked for.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, I just came in, said we're looking for this amount of money, this is the type of work that we do, and you guys funded it, so I'm happy to give you anything that you need. And if you're only looking to target job creation, and there's opportunity, and maybe this is because I'm listening to your numbers from the IDA meeting, if there's opportunity for greater funds, we do have a program that we are trying to start up that would specifically be related to job creation. So I don't know if there's a greater fund capacity between the IDA maybe and the CRC to do that. In which I can then come back to you and ask you about that one instead. And this is really up to, you know, what you need, I'll come back and give it to you.
Yeah, so if the next steps, I would imagine the motion is either gonna be to accept as is, or we can table it for next meeting to get more information. Let's look.
We've already tabled it twice.
I know, yeah, I just,
And I have to
I mean, I like the
apologize
fact that
about
it's
the
unique to
last 2
Troy.
meetings.
I mean, something that's unique to Troy, and we've supported it in the past, and, you know.
I'll offer, it does help my business, right? Like, we saved some money on some capital equipment
Mhm.
as members of the Tech Valley at Gravity, right? That let us actually hire some more people. So
Oh,
like,
that's-
there's some indirect job creation there, right?
That's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, we have some businesses that work out of it, and by doing so, you know, if you were to have to pay for a space in Troy, it would be a lot more money than just having a membership in a small space that you can work out of right there. We have co-working space, so if someone's a member, they can just work, they can come in, bring in their computer, and work right there. So we got people doing that. We have artists who come in, they create, they sell their items. You know, we have a PR company that's working out of there. So it's really, like I said, we got a man who makes his wood, he does woodworking, so he makes his woodworking products there, and then he sells them. I've got a man who, he's got a seashell museum, and now, he doesn't have the museum, but he does a pop-up, the first Saturday of every month, where he, puts all his seashells out and shows them off, and that's really unique and interesting. So, but, you know, if there is opportunity between the CRC and the IDA, or maybe this is something separate than this.
No, actually, this is the CRC, and I was thinking the IDA, but you're passionate about this organization, it's been around a long time. We just wanted to have somebody be here because we just kept getting it
and I
as
apologize.
and we needed to hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I had tripped to it twice in a row, the last meeting, and there was some kind of misunderstanding. And then the meeting before that, I was in Philadelphia for a doctor's appointment. So I couldn't make it the right, so I'm sorry about that.
That's over long?
So, I just want, you have a long-term lease with your
So we had a long-term lease, and then we just renewed for, I think it was for 5 years. And then after that, we kind of, we're working on whether there'll be an option to renew from there. But that's in the works. And it's a little above my pay grade right now. I get back to you on that.
I'll make a motion to,
I'll second.
Motion to pay the 5,000?
yeah.
So, motion, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You got it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And just quickly, since I'm here, regarding the IDA, do you guys, if we had a proposal that would create job creation, is that something that you guys help fund?
Not the IDA like that, no.
No. With the CRC, if what, so I know we got this one out, but if we were to fund that with, something later that had job creation side of it, is there potential for additional funds or something like that, or not?
I don't think that's a question we can answer right now.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, can I apply for more than one time
Oh,
in the same year?
we've been pulling back on a lot of the requests,
Oh, okay.
because it all depends on the revenue that's coming in,
Yeah,
and if it gets stagnant, then we'll just run out of money.
I completely understand. I
Okay.
just didn't know how it all
Yeah.
goes. Specifically,
We should have the financials.
but I was thinking more about on the IDA side, if you guys ever. if there was
That's
any
totally
kind of-
different, yeah.
Oh, I know. I used to work in economic development, so I didn't know how the IDA ran its business and that, so.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Anytime you want to come into a tour, please
Yes.
do.
Okay.
Good
Thank you so
idea.
much.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving on to old business. Does anyone have anything for old business?
Thank you.
No.
Financials.
First report is the statement of financial position. As of March 31st, we had total assets of $322,500, with $407,500 of that in cash. We had total liabilities of $460, which left us with a fund balance of $322,040. There's no significant changes to the statement of financial position. And lastly, we have the statement of activity. For the month of March, we ran a deficit of $322.85. Our only source of income was our interest earnings, and our largest expense was the monthly accounting fees.
I got a question. That receivable, like 200,000, the loan it's a loan receivable, right?
Yeah, with the,
Is that-
LTC.
Oh, okay. Are we getting paid for that? How's that work?
The repayment was tied, or something involving King Fuels
Yeah.
with selling that property, which hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay. Is there anything happening? Like, is it going to be sold anytime soon, or? No?
They're wrapping up the last part of remediation there. That should happen sometime next year.
And then it'll be on the market for sale, or?
Yeah, we can.
Or do you have
buyer.
Oh, okay, that's my thing. Do you have anybody in line to buy it? I guess that's my question, yeah.
I mean, that's
Okay.
a shovel-ready property, though, because you're dealing with
getting-
brownfield stuff,
yeah,
right?
it's
So
getting-
that's shovel-ready when we're done.
Yes, it will be.
And
Fully remediated.
Just don't touch that shovel right now.
And our current, pretty much the revenue for the CRC is pretty much the bond thing with RPI, right? That's our primary source of revenue, yeah, okay. I'll make the motion to approve the financial, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. And adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Motion? Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.